Here we are, back at it again. Another episode of the Artistry of Podcast. I am your host, Boo Miles. Easy. When I met you last night, baby, when you open up your gap, I had respect for your lady, but now I take it all back, cause you gave me all your pussy, and you even lick my balls, and if you can't fuck that day, baby, just lay back and open your mouth, cause I have never met a girl, but do that I loved in the whole wide world. Look, the music. When you're 13, 13, 14, 15, like whatever music is out at that time, like that's just going to be revolutionary music. Now, that was one of the songs that we used to sing that was off the Doggy Style album. I mean, it was like, I remember just the single, and I talk about this from time to time just because, it's so impactful, right? And what I've been watching recently, because I've been producing more. So I've been producing every day for, I don't know how long, maybe a week now, right? So I've been producing every day. And just like anything, once you start producing, or once you get into something, like when you really get into it, then you have to just really engulf yourself and just be surrounded by it in all the aspects. So I've been doing drill music. I've been doing trap, right? So I've been doing drill. I've been doing trap. And it's like, man, so now I got to listen. I got to listen to it. And what I've been listening to is like K Flock and 22 G's, and I just pull up Pandora and just put me on that drill, and then I had to zone in. I had to get more specific, right? So I think I put on K Flock, so this way I can get, I really can get that drill, and then I started to follow up on the story because I already knew the trial, I already knew what he was facing, right? I heard about that when it first happened, from 1090 Jake, EOS, 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all rocking with me, So I heard about the K Flock story from him when it first broke. So now I'm jumping into this drill, and I gotta really just get into the culture. Right here, let's take a little pause. You guys know I love to use my cue sounds, and hopefully I remember where I was. So
let me introduce you to Bo Miles, a unique and likable guy. Everyday life, friends and family makes up the artist's dream.
So we got the K Flock story, right? And then just jumping into it, right? Just really the gangs in New York, and it's like eerily similar to Chicago, and it's eerily similar to Florida, Jacksonville, and it's going to be eerily similar to L.A. and Texas and Seattle, like everywhere where there are these gangs They all are going to have the same story. And I mean, it's like, why? You know? Why is water wet? Why is the sky blue? Wait, why is the sky blue? Why is water wet? Why did Judas grab the Romans while Jesus slept? You know, we had to go into the book of Tony Stark's, okay? Freaking the Ghostface Killer, Psalm 32. Like, look, man, we had to go in there because you're going to hear the same thing play out over and over and over again. It's just going to play out the same story. And now you have the youth who are like making songs, like really mocking the dead. And that creates this anger to make the other side want to retaliate. So people say like, oh man, is this music making people kill each other, like the youth? And it's what they are doing. It's not really the music, like the beat is making them do it. It's people are out here hurting and they're in pain. And there's a saying that hurt people hurt people. Right? And that sounds like something that I'm sure some rapper said that first. Hurt people hurt people. That just sounds like a rap line. It sounds like a Cameron line. Cameron is notorious for that type of flow. Well, he was. I mean, I'm not sure what he's doing now, but he was notorious for saying something twice but having two different meanings, right? So like, I'm like, man, this is just sad, but then it just makes you wonder, like, yo, is this who we are? And this aspect, the side that we're looking at now, far as me, I'm on the microphone and you guys are at work, or you guys are on the train, or you guys are on the bus, or driving to work, or driving home, or cleaning up, like however you listen to your podcast, is that the illusion? That's what I have to ask myself. Is what I'm seeing right now. I'm looking at this computer monitor. I'm looking at a computer desk, and I have my audio mixer. Is this the illusion? The illusion of humanity? Because humanity is an illusion. Humanity is just something that they made up. Human, like that's not what we are. This is just people from long ago decided to call us something, and this is what stuck. So the illusion of man is just an illusion. The word man, like, it's an illusion, but the good thing about it is that it tells us what we think about ourselves. Like, we know that we feel like we're superior to all the other animals, to all the other creatures. We don't even feel like we are an animal. Like, that's how much of a just unique creature we are. Is that we don't even feel like like we're even animals. You know? So, as we try to understand more of ourselves, I think looking at our work, right? Like we have to look at our work. That's what we have to do. We have to look at our work. We have to look at our body of work. And we have to say, okay, judging from the body of work, this is what we are. Now we are social. We are creative. We are violent. Like we really love to kill and just beat each other to death. And chimps have that same. They have that same complex. They love being in groups. They love to beat each other to death. I'm not sure if they rape, right? Which is going to be hard. It's going to be hard to identify rape in the animal kingdom. Like, it's going to be hard to identify that. So, I don't know if chimps, if they do that. But we do know that they kill, and they will beat you. They will beat you to death. And they're a lot more adorable. It seems like every other animal on this planet is a lot more adorable than we are. We seem pretty frail. We seem pretty frail. It's like, man, why are we so frail? And that is something that comes up in this creation story, and one of the creation stories. One of the creation stories, it's with the Anunnaki. So with the Anunnaki, it was believed that they came here and they mixed their genetics with was ape, right? And just looking at our closest genetic relative are chimpanzees. I believe we share like 98% of DNA information, like the DNA coding sequence. We share like either 99 or 98 or like 99.5. Like it's a lot. It's really up there. So some believe that the Anunnaki did some gene therapy, or who knows how you would call it. Who knows how you would call it, but they use some type of crossing of the genes and boom, And so you have this element of man, right? So you have man as a step above the rest of the creatures on earth. Right? The regular creatures on earth, this is what that story is saying. That the regular creatures on earth, they weren't good enough, so that's why man is here. The chimps on earth, when the Anunnaki came, the chimps couldn't do what the Anunnaki wanted them to do. They weren't smart enough. So the Anunnaki had to make them better. So humans were made to be better than the rest of the animals on Earth, right? This is what that story is saying. And that's the crazy thing about creation stories, because they all are going to tell the superiority of humans. That's the whole point, is to say, why are we superior? Why are we better? We are better. And there's a reason, right? Humans have to believe that there's a reason for everything. So let's go ahead and jump in. Let's check out some creation stories, all right? And what creation story better to check out than the Genesis from the holy book of the Bible? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was moving over the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, right? So like God is a man, but God could let there be light, right? So you have let there be light, and there was light. And God saw it, and God saw that light was good. And God separated the light from the darkness. God called light the light day. Let's see, God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning, one day. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. And let it separate the waters from the water. Okay, so I guess that's like land. And God made the firmament and separated the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. So let's see, what is that saying? God made the firmament and separated the waters which were under the firmament. So it's saying that, I guess, there was water. I don't know if they're saying that this planet was water at first. And so water was here, and then land, right? Like, I'm just trying to just take it from this value. I think that that's what they're saying. I don't know. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. Okay, so it's like just a separation of, here, we need to check out what is firmament. That's what we need to see. All right, so we need to look so that we know, okay, what are we talking? What are we talking about here? All right, this firmament. All right, let's check it out. Let's see. Okay, FIRM. All right. And there we go. Okay, so let's pull it up. The vault of heaven, sky. So I guess this is sky. So it's a sky in water. Firmament. Let's check that pronunciation. Yeah, firmament. All right, so firmament. The firmament is the vault of heaven. It's sky. So the firmament is sky. So now that we have some idea of a firmament, let's read it again. Okay, so there was light and there was darkness. Okay, so we got light and darkness. So first there's nothing. Then he said, let there be light. And then you got light. So now so first there was darkness. And then, boom, let there be light. So then we got light. All right. now you have night and day. Now, see, these stories, like when you really start to analyze them, they don't hold up well. But one thing that they do, they reveal, which we are talking about. They reveal just the human mind and how we interpret, how we think, how we reason. Okay, so we have night and day. Okay, there was a morning one day, and then let there be sky. Right, firmament is sky. So let there be a firmament in the midst of the water. So there's water, and then there's sky. Okay, let it separate the waters from the waters. So God made the firmament and separated the waters which were under the firmament. So then you have sky. All right? And then God called the firmament heaven. Okay, so we have heaven. We have the introduction of heaven. And there was an evening and there was a morning, a second day. And God said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together in one place, and let the dry land appear. And so it was so. So that is Genesis 1:1 through 9. Like, I'm not sure how, you would say it. Because there's a way that you would say it. I know that I'm not saying it right. Genesis 1:1-9. Like, I know that that's not right. All right. But so here we have the skies, and then we have light. So first we have nothing. We have darkness, and then darkness. Then we get light. Right? God says, "Let there be light." We have light, and then the light now is a separation from darkness. So this story, I believe this is a good story. I mean, it's definitely some, I can't say inconsistencies, but it's just, it shows our lack of understanding, right? So that's what I would say, that we don't know. Ultimately, like I don't know, you don't know, like we don't know. Like, and that's even in science. Like if you compare this to the Big Bang, this is the Big Bang story, right? Why? Because this was before the Big Bang. This is the Big Bang, and science is just trying to prove religion. It's just trying to prove that is right. That's all that it's doing. So scientific belief is going to go along with this idea that there was nothing, and then boom, all of a sudden you have light. You have this process, right? Now that's what the Big Bang is. Boom, right? So this is a consistent belief that we as so-called humans believe. This is what we believe, right? And the story may change. It's just like this story, and we'll get to the other one, which I like. I like all stories though. I like all creation stories, right? I like all of them. Now in the Bible, there's two different creation stories. So we're going to jump in, and we're going to jump into that one as well because I like it. But Genesis tells an orderly creation, right? It's orderly. It's boom, out of nothing. Then solely by the power of words, God makes heaven first, and then the earth, then day and night, and separated out of chaos. Later, God creates vegetation, celestial bodies, and meta out of calendars, animals, and last of all, man. All right, so this creation story, I mean, it's a good, this is definitely a good story. and God said, so it's just putting everything in a structure. That's what this one is doing. It's real orderly. Okay. This came first and then this, just a steady build, a consistent, systematic build, right? These are the things. Look, this is humans. This is human beings. We love to craft and to create and just to be systematic and efficient. What is that? Workflow, right? Like God has the ultimate workflow here. Okay. This is the ultimate workflow. And God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, cattle and creeping things and beasts of the earth according to their kind. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth according to their kind, and the cattle according to their kind, and everything that creeps upon the ground according to its kind. So here we have look, this workflow. Birds of a feather flock together. Like, so many good sayings out here. It's just really good sayings. And we just, like, God's workflow in this creation story is very precise and very detailed. I mean, this is top level creation right here. And then God said, let us make man in our image. This is Genesis 1:24-26. I should know, I've been in church long enough to know how you would say. I just know that I'm not saying it right. I just know that it's not Genesis 1:24. Is it 1:24-26? Like, that sounds more accurate. When I just kind of reflect back, open the book up, Genesis 1:24-26. Like, I think that sounds right. But something seems off. I don't know. Right. So we can see that the Genesis creation story needed to believe in an orderly world, right? A world that is intentional, a world that is purposeful, created specifically with humans in mind, right? And above all, good. Like, it's pushing this narrative, because remember, is this that we are experiencing right now? Because if you're experiencing podcasting and you're just thinking and you're thinking about all of these ideas and self-growth and all of that, then you're not thinking about killing somebody who's wearing the wrong colors, or somebody who's from the wrong neighborhood, right? It doesn't, because this is really not about colors. Like the New York beef is not a color beef. Like, they are not worried about what colors you wear. They're worried about what block and what neighborhood you're from. And just the level of disrespect that they are doing to each other, that's what is perpetuating more and more violence, right? But the music is just a glimpse into the world, right? Music is just a glimpse into the world, but in this creation story, in this first Genesis story, it's speaking about good, right? How everything is orderly, and this world was created for man. The setup in this build is for man to rule and to have, look, you do whatever you want. You want to go and slit that cow's throat, like, go right ahead and eat on them and feast on them, because the world is yours. Whose world is this? The world is yours. The world is mine, is mine, is mine. Whose world? Right? So it's giving us structure and order, and it's saying that, this is created for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. Right? So that's what it's saying. It offers little detail about the cosmic forces, in which we would call the natural world, and focuses more on how to live the good life. Right? This story constantly repeating the word good frequently, right? After he creates the heavens, or I think after even the separation of light and darkness, and it was good. And then creates the heavens and the earth and the water, and it was good, and he rested and it was good, right? So he's constantly in this story. We're constantly focusing on this idea, right, of good. And I just wonder, is this because, I mean, we have to say this, like the drilling and running down and all of it, like this violence that the youth is experiencing now, just judging by this story, it's always been this way. Because that's why they're even focusing on, good, like trying to bring morality to the masses, right? So that's one thing that we get in this story, in the Genesis story, which, like I said, like I really, I like all creation stories because each story, they have a purpose, right? These stories have a purpose. They're not just done haphazardly, right? They have a purpose, and that's what I really love about them, right? So we get the structure of time in Genesis, right? We get the structure of time. This is what happened first and second and third. So we get this structure of time, and then it's paralleled by spiritual order. And there's also like a hierarchy, right? A sense of right and wrong, good and bad. So we have this hierarchy structure in there of the creatures. And look, creatures are going to just stick with each other. And from the very smallest creatures all the way up to your biggest, all the way up into humans, right? So we get this idea of a structure of hierarchy, and we already know that these are things that we believe. We believe in this, not because someone says it, like not just because that it's in the book of Genesis. This is our beliefs. Some of it, I believe, is with the intent of like correction. Look, man, y'all just wilding out there, Like, yo, y'all you're just killing, you're just doing whatever you want, and you're not thinking about the consequences of others, right? So like we think about the drill scene, or I can't say like, because drill is music, but just the violence that our young cats and our young youth, what they're experiencing. I mean, if you look at it, if it wasn't guns, it'd be knives. If it wasn't knives, like they just beat you to death, just kicking you and terrorizing you. You're going to form these gangs, right? But with this Genesis, just boom, we get structure, we get this hierarchy, we get good, we get bad, right? We're just stacking it up on a multi-layered universe, right? And that's just boom. That's the one story, right? We get one story, and then after that we get the story of the emergence of new people, right? So we get this story of people are here, and then people are, they're not following God's rules and His command, right? They forgot God, so then God has to wipe them out, and then so there we're showing this progression of time, right? But all right, if they're not following God, right? So what does that mean? Like we can say that that the youth, by them out there just killing each other, they're out there, they're just killing. Then what? It's like, yo, man, they're not following God. So if you're not following God, then who are you following, right? So, it's just crazy. But looking at the terrain, like just looking at our terrain now, if we look at our terrain now, we can say, just going back and looking at this story, that, this is consistent. What we're seeing now, this was going on in 1655. All right. It was the same stuff. We don't like to believe that. We like to believe that in 1655 in America, that all was good. Like, that's what we like to believe. We like to believe that all was good at 1655. Okay? You had slavery. The blacks were working from sun up to sundown, but once the sun went down, I mean, they had their own little space, their own little huts or concentration camps, like however you want to label it. This is what we like to believe, is that once the sun went down, that these slaves, that they stopped working and that they went back to their concentration camps and they just enjoyed the night. So let's see, it is May, right? So it's May. I believe it gets dark. I believe it gets dark later, right? So let's see, in the fall, it's going to get dark earlier. So if you're a slave, it's 1655, and it gets dark around. I remember because when I was driving, I want to say that back when I was working in an after-school program, I want to say that it got dark around like maybe 5, right? It could have even been 4:30 at one, maybe like one day in the year it's dark at like 4:30. But I know it was definitely dark around 5 and 6. Like, I'm talking about dark. Like long kids get night dark, right? So that's around like 5. So in October, November, or whatever is the longest or the shortest day, boom, the slaves, they out there working from sun up to sundown. But sundown is a lot sooner, a lot earlier than usual. So from that time, look, they just get to go back to the concentration camps. They get to sing songs. They get to dance. They get to court, right? Maybe it's this girl you've been looking at. She's over on aisle 5. Was it a smile when I saw you down the aisle? We both grabbed for the cotton, and then we fell in love. Was it a smile? Right? So, it's this girl you've been checking out down aisle 5, picking cotton, and you're going to ask her out this today, right? When the sun goes down, y'all go back to y'all concentration camps. You're gonna ask her out. Like this is what we believe. This is what we believe. But today, if we're looking at today, and then we're looking at this is allegedly 6,000 years, right? Like the book of Genesis and human existence, right? 6,000 years. So we go back 6,000 years. It seems like, it's the same mess. If they're not, they had to get wiped out, right? If God had to wipe them out, then clearly, look, man, they wasn't. My mama always saying I ain't living right, but I ain't going out without a fight. So 6,000 years they wasn't living right, and today they ain't living right. So it's safe to say that a few hundred years ago, right? What would it be? 330, 370 years ago? Like, they probably wasn't living right. Okay, just if it. So with that in mind, then we have to acknowledge that maybe it didn't go down like that. Maybe it just wasn't all. Look, man, after the sun goes down, and you get off from work, like, yo, man, you was probably getting terrorized. And you're getting terrorized by the white people around the plantation, right? Like the youth. That's the ones who doing all of this mess. These 15, I would say probably like what, 14 to maybe 30. I mean, it's hard to say 30, but I mean, a lot of these guys, because one of the stories up in New York, and I know we're jumping from, 1600s to the current day, modern time, just in and out. We're jumping in and out. So some of you may be able to follow, some of you may not. I mean, it's all good. Like, it's all good. But in present day, there was this, I think he was like either 15. He was between 13 to 15-year-old. This is up in New York. It's this drill that I've been studying in gang culture in New York. And this is probably within 10 years, I'm guessing. So 13 to 15 years old, and a bunch of older guys, like 18 to 30, they catch him out. I guess he's, walking in his neighborhood, and they beat him. They beat him and stab him to death. So you have like 30-year-old men beating up like a 15-year-old or 13, like I said, between 13 and 15. And they beat him and stabbed him to death. Like damn, that's just that is just crazy. I mean, I can't imagine me beating some 13-year-old kid to death. Like, I can't imagine it. And remember, I mean, I grew up around guys like that. That's 13, but look, they seem like they 18. Okay, so they're not just little skinny, small little kids. Like, nah, these are some. What did Hillary say? These are some super predators. Like, yo, man, we need Schwarzenegger out here. You feel me? Like, so I get that part, but still, I mean, it's like, man, I mean, y'all just beating and stabbing him like to death. Like, damn, man, that's just crazy. That really is crazy. And let's check out the second Genesis story, right? The second Genesis story is a good story, right? The second one, it features a more hands-on creation process, right? Like where man, specifically Adam, okay, is fashioned out of earth, the source of all life. Like a creator craftsman. God molds him from a ball of clay into a pre-existing environment, realizing that it would be better if the human race consisted of paired opposites, male and female, rather than a single individual. So then God creates Eve, the original pair. They confront evil and struggle to cope with their problems of living under a higher authority. The same problem encountered by the newly created generation of deities, right? In both the Greek and the Babylonian creation stories as well, right? Like look at that, God, he's more hands-on. Look, man, let me get down there, Let me get down there and actually create. But even in this story, we get man is set above other animals. Like we're above nature. We're not even animals. Right? So again, we get this hierarchy. So this is something that we just, this hierarchy structure. What is it? Hierarchy. It would be, Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like the whole general term, but I know it's like it's like a hierarchy type of system. Hierarchical. I'm trying to think of how you would say it, but this is something that if you think about the time, right? Because during this time, like if we go back, when you start talking about Babylonian and you start talking about Egyptian, just the different rule, you always have a ruler. You have a king and you have, it's not hierarchy. What is it called? It's not, I'm not thinking of like matriarch and all of that, but there's another term that just escapes my mind. But it has to do with like kings and queens and dukes and all of this other crap that these titles. So culture, like if we're looking at India, right, they have this hierarchy system where you have the caste system. Okay, so this is something that we believe in this stuff. Like we believe it. It was here 6,000, 10,000, 30,000 years ago, and it's here today. So then we have to say that, like, yo, if that's still here, and it was here thousands of years ago, then it was here hundreds of years ago. So it's here now, even though like we don't see ourselves as having like monarchy. I don't know if that's the word that I'm looking for. But it's like aristocrats, something like, like, so that these words are all in the family, but I'm not really sure. I'm sure once I start recording, the actual word will come to my mind. But the whole idea is that just because here in America, right, because we have listeners all over, we went through the terrain, so we have listeners all over the world. But in America, we believe that there is no caste system, that there is no hierarchy type of system, but there is. Even here in America, where you believe that it is not, there still is, right? So this is human nature. This is whatever we are, right? This idea of human, we believe in a hierarchy system. Right, which you can see in apes, and I'm not saying that we're apes, because we're looking at these stories just from a creation story, right? So I'm not attaching belief. So I'm not attacking anyone's belief. I'm not saying that something is right or something is wrong. I'm just identifying human nature in the story, right? So I want to make that clear, because I know that this type of thinking can get you killed in the world, right? I mean, and that's crazy. That is crazy that this type of thinking and this type of rhetoric can get you killed, but this is what we do. We kill. So whether it's for genes or whether it's a blue rag over your head, or you wearing red, or you're speaking the way I'm speaking, people just like to kill. Like really, that's what it boils down to. Like that's what it boils down to. So then it's like, man, you just can't even be sad. You can't even be sad, because are you sad at human nature, or are you sad that everyone doesn't believe the lie? Whether it is, it doesn't matter which side you pick as the lie, right? So you can say that evil is the lie, right? So you can say that, right? Or the so-called good is the lie. It doesn't matter which side you fall on. It doesn't matter which wing you're on. It's still on the same bird. It's still on the same bird. I mean, so it's like, man, but we're getting a chance to see who we really are. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So yeah, we didn't have an intro. Like, but look, I plugged the intro in somewhere. Like I found the spot, maybe at that first pause, right? I'll just throw the intro there, so that way, you know, we just keep it going. So with this second story, it's still in Genesis, right? 2:4 through 23, right? Like I said, like it just doesn't sound right. I know it's something that I'm missing, but we get the fall of man, you know, surely begins with the bite of the well-known apple. All right. But then man rises again. He returns from his chaotic origins, ready to, on this mission, it's like the Incredible Hulk, right? So the second Genesis story, it's like the Incredible Hulk episodes where, you know, you're a traveler, right? So man gets banished from paradise. And that story is really the most intriguing one for me. Okay. Like, because if we're speaking on a larger scale, what is evil? What is paradise? Okay. So paradise, what is it called when you're unaware of something? Naive, right? Naivete. Bliss, right? Ignorance is bliss. So in that second story, when man is just out and he's out into the wild, but he's not aware of himself, right? He's not aware. And see, that's why I really like the second story. I really like it because it's so intriguing, because man is just out in the nature and he's enjoying life, right? And he never dies. Now, depending on how you look at it, I mean, you could say like he physically, or he I would say physically, or he mentally, spiritually, right? But he physically never dies. He's not aware. He's not aware of death. He's not aware of his death. So man can die. Just think about rabbits, right? Rabbits and other creatures are, Quigley, right? I put up a video on my Bo Miles page. Put up a video on my Bo Miles page where they're teaching Quigley, the ape, that he's going to die, right? So just the fact that they're teaching, but see, again, there's still a lot of things up for interpretation with that, right? Because with language comes a prison, right? Because we have language, our brain and our mind is imprisoned to think within the means of the language. Those of you who speak multiple languages, you know that, okay, how do you say something in this language versus how do you say something in that language, right? So this is that's just a basic level of starting to understand the prison that language puts us in, because language is a prison. So when we give Quigley language, we're actually imprisoning his thoughts. So just because now he can articulate and he can say and use different combinations of words to express death and his feeling towards it, all right, well, how big is his vocabulary? Because if his vocabulary, let's say his vocabulary is 2,000 words, well, that's the sum of all thought, is just 2,000 words? But we know that, like profanity, you can say the same word and it can have different meanings. So even other things, it's like when we say hurt people. I just said the same thing. Hurt people, but it's a meaning. Each time that I say those two words, one is stating a group, and the second time I say that phrase, it's stating an action, right? So when we give Quigley language, we actually imprison his thoughts. Like there's a woman that I work with, and she speaks Spanish. She speaks Spanish and little English, and I speak English and little Spanish. But we have the greatest time communicating together, right? And I say we, but me, right? I believe that she does as well, just because she is always there to talk, right? So she's like teaching me a little bit of Spanish, right? And I'm teaching her a little bit of English, and we get to understand. So, I'll be like, okay, so how do you say that, right? So then now I know, like, como se dice, like, como dice, como dice, right? So I believe that's how do you say, right? So like we're learning together. Now, if neither of us could talk, right? Neither one of us could talk, we would still have this pull to communicate, right? And it's not just on like a sexual tension, because anytime a male and a female is together, and here we see this in this second creation story, that we're paired opposites, right? So we're paired, which in today's terrain, look, you can even take that into your own hands, right? And so it's interesting to see what new creation stories are being developed now. Like they are being developed, even if we don't hear them, even if we don't hear these stories, somewhere in the world, a new religion, right? Because science is the biggest, the newest religion, right? The new kid on the block is science. Science is the newest religion, and it's the fastest growing, the fastest to infiltrate, and just like science is the fastest growing religion, and it's just spread all through the world, different languages. You can it's a complementary, right? What is like ketchup and mustard? What is that? That's it's not commodity. Commodities are like food, but it's something else. Man, I can't think of. I know it begins with the C. I don't think it's a commodity, but a condiment, right? So science is like it can be, right? So it can be a condiment, or what did I say it was? Okay. Ooh, who is this? Who is this? I want to say it's a condiment. Let's see. I'm not sure if it's two M's. Man. Hey, let's see. No. A condiment. Let's see what this is. All right, so something used to give spice and special flavor. Condiment. All right, so a condiment. All right, so a condiment. So I was saying with an M, but it's with an N, right? So a condiment. So science it's like it can be, right? It can be a condiment where you can still be a Muslim, you can still be a Hindu or a Jew or a Christian or an atheist. You could be whatever and have science, right? And believe in however much science you want to believe in. You can believe in a little bit, you can believe in a lot, like you can totally believe in it, and just your whole diet is just science. Or you can do a little mixture and have a mixture of a diet to where you got a little bit of this, you got a little bit of that, you got to sprinkle a little bit of science in there. So science is a very versatile, but we even talk about like each time something is destroyed and it comes back a little bit stronger, right? It's still, everything has its weakness, but it comes back. So, a lot of ideas fell to the wayside, but, when a new idea comes back and it takes over, I mean, it comes back a lot stronger, but this second creation story, and like I said, this is the one that I find the most intriguing. But it stresses the idea that through past historical events, like alternates between harmony and discord, and it will lead ultimately to world order. First, God creates an environment of righteousness, harmony, and well-being, and then He creates this covenant, a promise by man to follow the laws that's laid down. Look, Adam, I've created this paradise for you, and you have to look here are my rules. Here, this is the guidelines. And when you break those rules, when you break those laws, well, then there's going to be consequences. All right. So this story, this is like modern. This is modern society. Okay. This land, no matter where you are, right? You have access to this land. You can participate in this land. You can be of this land. But we have some rules and we have some laws, some governing principles that everyone must follow. And if you do not follow those rules and those laws, well, then you will be punished accordingly. Okay? Now, the injustice of sin in the world constitutes the discord created by man. Right? So there was this harmony, but then when man gained knowledge, it created this discord, right? So here, like this is why I really love this story and just examining this story. Why I really love to examine this story is because it speaks, like, when you really try to find, okay, we're one with the land, and then something happens, and now we're no longer one with the land, with the earth, and we have to leave that paradise, which we can never get again, right? We can never get that paradise again because we've been banished from it. Now we know that as alleged humans, right, so-called human beings, we know that we feel like we're above the land, we're above the law. We create the law, right? We create the law that everything must follow. From ants to bears, if they step out of line of our interpretation of order, well, there will be consequences. Right? Like, there will be consequences. But what gave man this insecurity? Because if you look at chimps, right? And we look at chimps as we put the creation story on chimps, and we say, okay, now are they living in harmony? Well, they kill each other. They're just like human beings, right? And like I said earlier, this is a disclaimer. I'm not saying that, I'm not attacking your belief. But I'm just saying that they are doing this. And you say, well, but we're above them. Okay, we're above them. All right. I mean, look, I'm not questioning who we're above or who we're below. All right, we're at the very top, right? So, but then now humans got to fit into this hierarchy system, right? But the only an act of divine justice can restore the balance and return man, right? His forgiveness and transform his repentance for his sins back into an orderly society. Then we get the story of Cain and Abel. We get the temptation of Adam in the garden, right? We get Noah in the flood. We get the Tower of Babylon, which is a really good one about the language, right? How everyone spoke, because these questions, like, all right, so how, why am I a male, right? Why are there males? Why are there females? Why do they speak? Why are there so many different languages in the world, right? So we get these stories to understand our reality. That's what these stories tell us, is how we understand, how to understand reality. And I think that's one of the things where science, and remember we talked about like the flat earth, right? This idea that, okay, we're taking away our senses and we're no longer trusting our senses. And we're going to trust this idea called science to now give us sight beyond sight. So no one has been on the surface of the sun or the core of the sun or within the sun, right? But we use science to understand what is happening, and that is enough for us. Neptune, the ether of space, right? We believe that it was, I remember at one point we believed that it was just empty. Right? Now, when I say we, I'm saying just the level of understanding as a human being. So when you're a kid, you believe that space is like moving your hand through air, but it's not hot or it's not cold. Okay? And that's how it feels. And then you learn that they have gases. Some of them are thick. Some of them are thin, right? So then it's like, oh man, well then space is like, it's kind of like water, right? So you have all of these ideas, and all of these ideas change as the understanding changes, right? So to wrap it up, because I gotta cook up this beat. I've been, like I told you, I've been making music every day, so I gotta continue to do it, right? So even today and even tomorrow, and God said that was good, right? But we gotta keep cooking up the music. We gotta just try to stay as consistent. Boom, there we go. We got to try to stay as consistent as possible. All right, that's the whole goal. It's just to try to stay consistent. And boom. So I had to cut the video because look, with knowledge comes understanding, and then comes evolution. Right? So I'm evolving in my process. Okay, boom. At first I'm like, all right, let me put up this, and it can get, we put up these 3-minute clips, we put up this clip, we put up that clip, but ultimately, look, we need to evolve, right? Have a specific target, and then go after that target, right? So that's what I'm doing. So I'm just consistently evolving to try to meet my target. And so if I'm doing drill music, and like I said, just learning about all the stuff that's going into the music, and it just made me just question, like, man, what are we doing out here, man? So that's that. We're gonna call it here, which is this is a short episode, but look, we don't need 40-hour episodes. Give you guys a chance to detox, right, from those long episodes that I love doing. We'll jump into some more stories next week, maybe. Or eventually, right? Because Greek mythology, which I love, Egyptian, Norse, so many. I can't think of we got African, right? So with the animal stories and the animal parables. Then we have the indigenous peoples, the Americas, right? This land, we have their stories, right? So we're definitely gonna jump back. We're gonna get balls deep into origin. But until then, Reese's peace.